Okay, class, here's a quick demo of an exercise that I'd like you to do, and this is going to be something that you're going to use throughout the semester. Um, I would like you to create a new spreadsheet. The one you see here is something I created in Microsoft Excel. You could use Google Docs and their online spreadsheet. I think that should do what we need it to do. And what you're going to do is move the terms that you're collecting from a Word doc format into spreadsheet format. And I want you to create a series of fields. First one, term ID. The next one, term, and this is the word or phrase, the technical term that you've been collecting. You're going to store that there. The third one is definition, and the fourth one is date added. So, under term ID, for each term you add, I simply want you to number it. So the first one will be 1, the second one will be 2, and so on. I realize that there are numbers next to the rows that are part of the spreadsheet itself, but we actually want data there. So let's say term 1 is blog. You would enter the term name there, and it doesn't have to be capitalized. That's at your discretion. And you would type a definition in this field. And for usability's sake, you can expand it so you can see a little more as you type, or probably you'll be cutting and pasting. That's fine too. One thing I will point out to you though, when you cut and paste from a place like Microsoft Word, you may be moving formatting over with the things you cut and paste. So think about using something like TextEdit, maybe pasting it into a plain text editor and saving it there so that it strips away that formatting. That's one option. Or using Microsoft Word's clear formatting option as well before you cut and paste. This website storing great definition under pressure. Website storing how about sorting information posted in reverse chronological order. Okay. Now you notice that this seems to spill over into the next cell. Don't worry about it, it's not actually in that cell. There's a text entry area above. If you've ever used a spreadsheet, you'll know you can change this display and tell it whether or not it should show you this text when it runs over the space allotted. But it is contained in that cell. So for date, you would add the date it was due, which or if you're adding new terms, the date you're adding it. So I'm creating this today, so let's say 2/25/2009. And you see there, the overflow disappeared, but it's still in the cell, so that's fine. So you do this for your whole list of terms, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. And I know it's a simple exercise, but there's one other piece of information that you didn't add here, and that's citation. So this is where it gets a little more complicated. I want you to use a second sheet within the workbook if you're using Excel, or make a second spreadsheet if you need to using Google Docs. I'm not sure if they have sheets within workbooks off the top of my head. You're going to create this second file, and you're going to create something called citation ID. Then you're going to add term ID, and I'll explain this in a second. And then URL. No, actually, let's say citation source. Now, more likely than not, the citation source will be a URL. I am going to slide that over because this is going to tend to be longer and we don't have anything over it. So, citation ID, you can guess, okay, for each one you'll add a number, 1, 2, 3, etc. But what about term ID? Didn't we see this before over here? Yes, we did. So, the purpose of putting term ID over there is to be able to add more than one citation that's then connected to this definition. So for blog, I'm going to add the term ID 1 rather than retyping blog over here so you know what the citation is connected to. I'm typing 1. So you've taken that and transferred it over here. So I'm going to type www.wikipedia.com/blog. Now, I am making that up. That's not where I got the information. But let's say you had. And how about we assume that you had two sources that you combined for your definition. So your second entry, if this is a second source related to blog, you're still going to use term ID 1. And then let's type www.webopedia.com/def/blog. Again, totally making that up. You'll keep adding this as long as these citations are connected to that entry. So if you have a second term, CSS, cascading style sheets, and I'm not going to write a longer definition, but you get the idea. You add the date, and now you want to put the citation for where you found out what that stands for. Whoops, let's grab the right sheet. Boom, there we go. Back at citations, the next citation ID you enter will have a term ID 2. So you see, while the citation ID goes up one by one for each one you enter, the term ID is determined by which term you're connecting it to. And in this way, you are building a very simple relational database. So try it out. I know it may sound a little complicated or not, but give it a shot. At the very least, complete this sheet number 1. And if you run into problems with sheet number 2, we'll talk about it in class. All right? Good luck.